So you're looking at making the move to Utah and you're checking out videos just like this to really help dial in exactly what it is you need to know if you're making the move to Utah. And in this video today, I'm going to talk about everything you need to know in order to relocate successfully to the state of Utah to the point where you'll know where to live, where to work, and where to play. All of these things play into what your lifestyle is going to look like once you make the move to Utah. And to start off, I want to talk about Utah's different regions first. First and foremost, I want to talk about where do most people live in Utah? Well, Utah's a larger state. However, most of the people that live in Utah live along what we call the Wasatch Front. And that is on the west side of the Wasatch Mountains, which is the first mountain range of the Rocky Mountains as you move from west to east. So as we sit along that front side of the Wasatch Mountains, that's where 2.5 million people live out of the 3.5 million people that make Utah their home. But that's not all. There are people that live in the southwest corner of the state of Utah in and around St. George and Cedar City and other towns throughout southern Utah. And there's another metropolitan area up north of the Wasatch Front in Cache Valley, and that is centered around the small city of Logan. So I like to think of Utah broken up into three categories in terms of where people choose to live. We have the Wasatch Front, we have the Wasatch Back, which includes all of those mountain towns, including Park City and the surrounding communities that so many people love making home. But we also have southern Utah, and that's primarily focused in and around St. George. So when I think of Utah as the Wasatch Front, the Wasatch Back, which includes all of the mountain towns, as well as southern Utah in and around St. George, that clearly divides the state up into three regions. And you'll notice that most of my videos are centered around helping people make the move to and within the communities and cities along the Wasatch Front. That's primarily because that's where I choose to live as well as where I choose to work. And most of the people making the move to Utah are living along the Wasatch Front or the Wasatch Back. So for that purpose and that reason, I get to serve so many people that are making the move here. And so the next thing you might want to know is where are the best places to live throughout these areas? Is it the cities? Is it the suburbs? Or is it the rural towns? It just depends on what exactly it is you're looking for. And that's where your personal preferences and your lifestyle really come into play. Now, I'm in a unique position where I get to help people and talk to people that are reaching out to me every single day making the move here. And I get to ask questions around what they're looking for. And what I've noticed is you can kind of break people up into two different categories: people that are looking for existing homes and people that are looking for new construction. And of course, the existing homes can range from homes that were just recently built all the way back to homes that were built in the 1800s. So there are so many different types of homes along the Wasatch Front. And usually, not always, but usually the older homes are centered around the cities and towns and closer to the mountains, whereas the suburbs and the communities that are just a little further away, maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes away from the cities, is where you'll find most of the newer construction homes. So one of the very first questions I'm going to ask you is, are you looking for new construction, or would you prefer living in a neighborhood that's more established with an older home? It just depends on you. So why are people making the move to Utah? Number one, it's for a change of lifestyle. Number two, it's that 4 seasons that we have here. But most importantly, it's the great outdoors and the absolutely stunning scenery that we get to enjoy right here in our backyard each and every day. But one of the other things that are really driving people to make the move to Utah is the opportunities, especially within their job or their business. So job opportunities and the economy in Utah are a major driver as to why people are choosing to make the move here. Other reasons that people are making the move here certainly have to do with politics and other things as well, but it's the jobs and it's the great outdoors that really bring people to Utah. So what is the job market like in Utah? We all see Utah ranks number 1 in the country in terms of total rankings as to the opportunities, the unemployment, the job opportunities, the job market itself, and the economic growth. So Utah is a phenomenal place to come and work and to make a living. But what are the major industries and types of jobs that are really growing here in Utah? In years past, it's been in the tech industry, but there are so many other industries that are thriving, including healthcare, life and biosciences, advanced manufacturing, financial services, as well as many other industries. So healthcare is one of the top industries that I'm noticing people making the move here for. So maybe you work in healthcare. Maybe this is the place for you, because with our growing population, hospitals are expanding, new hospitals are going up, and we certainly have a need for more healthcare providers. Now, for most of the people that I talk to that have made the move here, most of those people have already had a job lined up. So some people are making the move here and looking looking for a job once they arrive, but the vast majority are looking to relocate within the job they already have, or they've already got a new job lined up. And I would love more feedback for my videos. So if you are considering relocating to Utah, but you already have a job in which you can actually make that relocation happen, I'd love it if you drop in the comments and let me know what industry you work in, because I'm trying even harder to get a better pulse on what people are doing and what industries people are making the move in. And that's something I'm really curious about. So drop a comment below and let me know what industry you work in if you're considering making the move here yourself. And overall, jobs here in Utah are great. You will notice that some people complain that wages are lower here in Utah, which they have been on the rise. They just haven't been on the rise as much as the housing costs. And so I understand that pain. But if you work in a mid-level to higher level position within a company, you're typically going to do very well here. And the median household income here is shooting up rapidly. So many local people that aren't making as much money, and maybe they're making the median household income, they're going to struggle when it comes down to buying real estate. It is tough here. The unaffordability crisis in terms of real estate is really front and center and top of mind for me specifically because I work in this industry, but it's also crucial to Utah's future. And I believe that it's the greatest threat to Utah's economic future if we don't get something figured out. And with recent developments in terms of focuses that we have in the legislative process to create laws and bills that will help develop a system that will foster more new construction for starter homes, this is what we kind of need to see. And hopefully that's starting right now. And I'll keep this channel updated with any upcoming developments in terms of new bills passing here in the state of Utah, as well as deregulation that will help us build more of those starter homes here in Utah, which we so desperately need. Okay, once you arrive here, what are your options for transportation? That's another question that I get a lot of. And in terms of public transportation, you're going to have a phenomenal city in and around Salt Lake City if you're looking for public transportation. And that includes a front runner train that runs along the Wasatch Front. That includes a really great light rail system that takes you throughout the valley, including the city. And with the recent announcement of the awarding of the 2034 Winter Games to the host city of Salt Lake City, I do think that that light rail system will likely expand even further in the coming years. But we do have great public transportation in the Salt Lake City metropolitan area. Outside of that, up in Ogden or down south in Provo, the public transportation systems there are not as robust, not even close. Of course, there are buses, but you don't have nearly as many good options. Now, most people that are making the move here aren't really using public transportation very much. It's more about the infrastructure and the highways, the freeways, etc. So there are certain projects that have been poorly planned in Utah. Others have been incredibly well planned. And I would say that some of these projects that are currently under construction, especially the Mountain View corridor running along the west side of the Salt Lake Valley, is a new freeway that's been very well planned, and it's extending all the way from Interstate I-80 up north in the northern part of Salt Lake County all the way down through the valley and into Utah County. And they're currently building that next phase of that highway, extending down from Salt Lake County into Utah County, into Saratoga Springs and over to Eagle Mountain, as well as connecting over to I-15. This is going to greatly impact the infrastructure in and around Lehigh and Saratoga Springs to the point where it'll be one of the best places for traffic. And right now it's one of the worst. So if you're looking to make the move to Utah and you're looking in those high growth areas like Lehigh, Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, the traffic there can be really congested during rush hour in the morning, but especially in the evening. But those new highways are currently under construction right now. And every 18 months we'll have significant progress in terms of the next phase of those developments. And it's going to greatly impact the future of not only northern Utah County, but also the entire western part of Salt Lake County as well. Now, communities like Harriman and South Jordan and West Jordan, and specifically the neighborhood of Daybreak that sit along the west side of Salt Lake County, are also going to be greatly impacted as that new freeway and that new infrastructure that provides so many things to come and so much ease of access to get north into the city or get south into Utah County. It's going to alleviate some of the traffic going east-west on the other main arteries, as well as I-15 going north-south. So as we expand these freeways, it's really improving our way of life here in terms of the infrastructure and managing the traffic load as we have more and more people making the move here. There's another highway that was very poorly planned, in my opinion, along the west side of Salt Lake County, and that is Bangerter Highway. Bangerter Highway was originally built as a highway with stoplights at every main artery, moving south through Salt Lake County, and UDOT, the Utah Department of Transportation, is slowly but surely converting Bangerter Highway to a full freeway, and it's getting close to being on the home stretch. So as you connect to Bangerter triangular highway from I-15 on the south end of Salt Lake County, and you bend all the way over to the west and you run north up into Salt Lake City, directly into the Salt Lake City International Airport. That highway is starting to get really good in terms of managing traffic flow, and it's really cool to see that the west side of the valley is starting to drastically improve in terms of traffic. Now, one of the worst areas up north in times past was right where I-15 bottlenecks through Davis County as you go through Centerville and Farmington. Now, as they've expanded options like the Legacy Parkway as well as the West Davis Corridor, a new freeway being built on the west side of Davis County, leading all the way out next to the Great Salt Lake and up through towns like Syracuse, this is drastically helping traffic throughout the entire region. And to me, as a local Utahn who's driven for 30 years here in the state, that used to be a bad area for traffic, and it no longer is. So I'm seeing massive improvements in terms of infrastructure and with well planned out and thought out additions to infrastructure to help manage this load in terms of how many new people are making the move here. Now, with all this said, that's not to say that we don't have our points. Maybe we have choke points, and maybe that's at the 215 I-15 interchange in Murray in Salt Lake County, or maybe it's up north. It doesn't matter where those choke points are. They're probably better than most cities that you're coming from, especially any major American city. And when we look at the average commute time for people here in Utah at 22 minutes, it's drastically better than every other city that we compare it to. So as locals really complain about the increased traffic, yes, I understand that, but I do believe that UDOT is doing a phenomenal job in terms of managing that growth. And of course, we have to wait till the growth happens in order to have the funding to build the infrastructure. So it's a matter of the forethought that goes behind it and the planning, and I think that they're doing a pretty good job, even though they haven't done the best job in the past. All right, let's talk schools. So you're relocating here. Maybe you've got children that are going to be plugging into the school system here, or maybe higher education is at the top of your list if your kids are getting up to that age where they're soon going to be going off to college. Well, Utah ranks in terms of education incredibly high. One thing that makes that happen is we have a really intense focus on education here in the state of Utah, both in the pre-K through 12 as well as higher education. And so our higher education here in Utah ranks 6th overall between all 50 states. But the one area that we kind of lack is sometimes our class sizes can be significantly larger. We do have more kids here and we struggle with the growth at times. So it depends on where you're going to school and where you're plugging your kids in, whether that be the public school system or the very many options in terms of charter schools, magnet schools, or private schools. There are a lot of options here in Utah. And although I can't steer people towards a certain area based on school rankings, but I absolutely can provide the resources that you're going to want to check out if you're plugging yourselves into a place and you want to know where the best schools are. I can share these resources with you so that you'll know where the top rated districts are and where the top schools are so that you can make sure that you're making the right decision for your family. And all of these resources are part of what makes up our relocation guide that we built. So if you're looking to make that relocation happen, please reach out to us for that guide because it will give you the resources that you need to know if you're looking to make the move here yourself. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Scott Steele and I'm a local real estate agent and broker. I help people make the move here to Utah each and every day. And my team and I get to talk to people just like you every day. So if that's you, reach out to us. We'd love to share our guidance and make sure that we answer all of your specific questions. Now, let's talk about what's next. Everybody that makes the move here wants to know where they can have the best access to the outdoor recreation. And Utah is world renowned for its outdoors, its recreational opportunities, and of course, its scenery and its natural beauty. So where along the Wasatch Front, if you're moving here, or the Wasatch Back, or even St. George, or Logan up to the north, where do you want to be in order to have the greatest access to that natural beauty in those outdoors? Well, it honestly doesn't matter. Of course, some areas are going to be closer than others, but typically, no matter where you live, within 30 minutes, you're going to be in the heart of the mountains or whatever the case may be. You're going to have plenty of opportunities, but there are certain areas that are more attractive than others. If you want to be closer to the national parks, if you want to be closer to the Wasatch Mountains for those beautiful ski days or the summer mountain biking, whatever it is you're looking to do, Utah and Salt Lake City and the other cities along the Wasatch Front pretty much top the list in terms of being compared to any other cities throughout the United States. We have that going for us. It is one of our greatest and strongest selling points. So if you're looking to make the great outdoors part of your lifestyle, Utah is a perfect place for it. Now, we talked about jobs and why people make the move here in terms of jobs as well as the outdoors, but really, where is it that you want to live? Where can you afford to live? Where do we distinguish the different neighborhoods between here's the fastest growing areas, there's the more affordable areas over here, here's the more luxury areas over here? That is what Utah does really well. We have such much a mix of different areas that are going to be perfect depending on exactly what you're looking for. So yes, Utah has more affordable areas for sure, as well as the luxury areas. So when I talk about more affordable areas, I'm going to talk about Tooele County, I'm going to talk about Eagle Mountain, I'm going to talk about Syracuse up to the north and Ogden. There are many areas in Utah that are considered more affordable and certainly more achievable for the home buyer with the average income. But on the flip side of that, where are the luxury properties? Where are the most expensive places to live in Utah? And those areas, of course, include Park City and the surrounding areas, as well as cities like Alpine and Highland down in Utah County, and many of the neighborhoods in and around downtown Salt Lake City. But that's not all. There are luxury properties throughout southern Utah, especially in and around St. George. So luxury real estate is really booming here in Utah, and I honestly don't see that slowing down. And if you are considering buying or selling a luxury property in Utah, make sure that you reach out to us because we have a unique and distinguished approach as to how we navigate a transaction when it comes to a luxury property. All right, once you finally make the move to Utah, you're really going to want to get plugged in with the local events, the festivals, all the things that are happening. You want to be in the action, potentially. It's not for everybody, but some people really love to go check out all of the local happenings. And for me, if I were moving somewhere across the country, I'd want to know that same information. So the cultural and community highlights are important. I want to know what are the community traditions, what are the festivals, the events that happen every year that people really get excited about, and make sure that I have that opportunity myself as well. Utah's full of them. It's got so many different options depending on where you live, and we can really hone that in once we figure out what area you want to be in. And beyond just the local happenings, we're going to want to dial you in and make sure that you know where the local hospitals are, the clinics, and if you happen to have a need for any particular specialists, we want to make sure that you're in a place that makes sense for you as well. And we have a lot of conversations with people that are making the move here that have that specific question as to where the best healthcare is, where can they achieve a good work-life balance, as well as being close to the things that they need to be close to. So healthcare is definitely at the top of that list. Beyond that, we want to make sure that you get into the right neighborhood because let's be honest, not every neighborhood, despite how awesome it might be, is right for everybody. Not everybody is meant to live in one particular place. We all have different preferences. We all are experiencing a different version of life. And so we want to make sure that the neighborhood that we plug you into is the neighborhood that you're going to find joy and happiness, and make sure that you get connected with the people that you really want to get connected with. And the number one tip that I can share in terms of finding the right neighborhood for you is to book a call with us so that we can have a really good conversation and really dive into the questions that we like to ask you about your life and your lifestyle and your family, so that we can make sure that we feel like we're making good recommendations for the various neighborhoods that would probably be most appealing for you. And of course, this all comes down to balancing the affordability of certain areas, the amenities of others, and making sure that you're getting the best of what you can possibly achieve based on your budget, based on your lifestyle, based on your commute, based on everything that we've talked about. And some of the most family-friendly communities like Daybreak out in South Jordan, or perhaps areas in Lehigh and Saratoga Springs, or Provo, there are so many different areas that are really truly family-friendly, but there are other areas for other people depending on what you're looking for as well. For example, some of my favorite neighborhoods in the entire state of Utah are centered right in Salt Lake City, close to downtown, but not in downtown. So you have all of the access to all of the amenities and the events and the happenings that are taking place in downtown Salt Lake City, but yet you're in these beautiful old neighborhoods with huge tree-lined streets. It's one of my favorite places to be in Salt Lake City. I don't know that that's best for everybody, but on the flip side of that, I see so much value and appeal in moving up into the mountain towns because that lifestyle is super inspiring. And so there's so many different cool places to live. There are literally 20 neighborhoods that I would personally love to live in myself, but the only thing that truly matters is what you want and what you're looking for. Okay, now once you've moved here, you're going to want to know what the local tax structures are. How do taxes impact your life, especially compared to where you're coming from, and where we have almost 20% of the people making the move here coming from California specifically. They're usually really surprised at how much more affordable so many of the things are here, and sometimes even real estate, believe it or not. But all of the different things, including taxes that really help people save money and impact your life, are something that we're going to direct you with as well. We're going to share your property tax rates, sales tax, all the taxes that impact your daily life life, as well as the cost of utilities and other expenses that it takes to live here. And that extends and spills over into local resources like where do you need to go to the DMV to get registered here for a vehicle? What do you need to do with your driver's license? What do you need to do in order to get plugged in with your local government, as well as getting your utilities set up in your new home? We help hold your hand through the entire process to make sure that you have that guide and those resources every step of the way. And when you finally settle in, what to expect when it comes to weather. So we have 4-season weather here in Utah. I find that really appealing. It really is divided into 3 months apiece. We have a good 3-month winter, 3-month spring, 3-month fall, 3-month summertime. Although summertime and fall time can oftentimes feel more like summer or winter, so it can be a little bipolar, but what to expect in terms of the weather changes and the weather patterns here in Utah will really certainly impact your life here as well. So I want to make sure that I'm helping you through that process as well, understanding where you live and what to expect so that you come prepared. And look, I understand Utah's weather is not for everybody. I totally understand. I personally find it really appealing because it's dry here, so the summers don't feel as hot, the winters don't feel as cold as other places that have much harsher summers and winters. I find that the cool, crisp mountain air here is really appealing. It's not for everybody. My wife, who moved here from Southern California, of course, came from the place where there's the best weather in the entire country. So I understand why people don't love the cold, but I also understand that a lot of people that are making the move here are looking to have that experience of living in a place with 4 seasons. They're looking to get out of places like Texas, where the humidity is just awful during the summer months. So depending on where you're coming from, it's just about managing those expectations and to know what to expect when you do arrive. And along with weather, you're going to want to know how to plug in with youth sports or other sports or outdoor activities and other social clubs and things that you can plug into the community with, and really identify where your hobbies are, and of course who you want to connect with if you want to build your network here in Utah as well as your new home. And within all of that, I do have a lot of people making the move here that want to know where the local hidden gems, where do people want to go for a weekend getaway, and that might be different in the summer versus the winter, but there's plenty of places to go and get away here in the state of Utah without taking some expensive vacation out of state or out of the country. So Utah's got so much to see. I wish everybody that lived here took more of the opportunity that we have to check out all of the beauty that we have right here in Utah, because you don't have to go far to experience it. Okay, so relocating to Utah is a complicated process, but at the same time, when you have the right guide along your side, it gets a lot easier. And one thing that is really important for me is to talk to people that have made the move here and work with my clients to make sure that I'm understanding what mistakes did they make along the way. And so in an upcoming video, I'm going to be sharing the most common mistakes that people make when relocating to Utah, and most importantly, how to avoid them. So if you've gotten value from this video, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button. It really helps me get in front of more people just like you. And my name is Scott Steele, and my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. You can find our contact information in the description below, or you can book a call with us. Either way, it works for us. Get in touch with us so that we can help you make that move here to Utah and make it as smooth as possible. And if you're looking to learn more about life in Utah, check out this playlist next. And until next time, thanks.